Well, I thought that was a good question, because I think in a way I've been dealing with, some of those issues. And I have this sort of ongoing, even identity issue, as a consequence of near-death experience, sort of simultaneous incarnation things, all of which seem to be sort of, finishing in a way, the simultaneous incarnation, which of course then just leads to another identity issue. Which, and the identity, it's so fundamental, to everything. Everything, I think what you find is that you've actually been doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
Of course.
But
well said.
But it's still, I think that if you actually know, to me, if you know what you're doing, it's better.
Or not. Sometimes we constrict what we're doing because we think we know.
Well, that's true.
I know what
that's
you
true. But at least there's some of the confusion stuff is less, and then or just the efficiency. So I also think so. What I'm still dealing with, although my identity stuff I think is whether it's more clear or not. At least some of the other stuff older stuff has fallen, by the side. And I'm still dealing with. I've had a great, couple of weeks getting so much done on my software. It's been amazing, and it is almost how I want it to be in my mind. And I still have to. And there's not much to do structuring wise. Dealing with this woman in Santa Fe is not the easiest, and it's not the easiest to be doing what I'm doing anyway, never mind having somebody right there. I'm happy, I like her and I'm happy about it, but it's still a challenge and time consuming. And then, and then the whole relationship thing, which hasn't been, I think it's helped me really resolve a lot of, or really bring in a lot of new pattern stuff. And it's taken a more turn for the positive, with this minor improvement on communications and attentiveness and just possible direction. But the impact of what I went through about a month ago has not left me. And I could really see the strong galactic mind of this person, of the first person, and that's just such a link. The mind link is just such a link, and I think it's really helped me a lot. But I can't see how anything could go along in another direction anyway. I can see it, but I don't think it's that likely. But yet it's very confusing that it's taken such a hold.
Let me say that in our jobs, in our work, in our relationships, the one steady point is the visibility of the true self. And so, in all of those ups and downs that go on as we change, I think that one of the ways, perhaps the best way to identify ourselves, so that's what's radiating out, because that's what counts. If you radiate out your true self, the ones who belong to you are going to be attracted and come to you, and others are going to fall away. And so that's what we want to work on. We want to have action in the world, but at the same time we want to work on polishing that self. And so I think it's very important to, in terms of, you finish off one identity and another one is coming but isn't quite there, is what are the qualities? When I work with people and when we do exercises in consciousness at the Line Institute, we're always looking for that. What is the quality that your inner child brought into the world? What are the qualities of your higher self? Is it that you have a beautiful heart, that you are very patient, that you have clarity? What are the qualities at any moment? Because they move around depending on who we're relating to and how we're feeling. But when we come to that, well, I know that, for example, that I'm doing this well because I am staying the course, as you have been doing with your software program. I am staying the course. I have the patience to do this. I will get this done. That's an incredible quality.
Well,
and so the more that you,
place. It's not just
yeah, but the more that you really say good job, and you feel that energy, the more it'll radiate out from you, and the easier it is to get something done.
Right.
That's what's so important about
that. That's the other person that I'm dealing with. Is it seems like every year I'm like waiting on my friend John in Connecticut, and I don't really feel that I want to be waiting. And I know what you say about don't wait and don't
That's
don't
right.
push and all that. But the fact is that I wasn't waiting, but if he didn't take 2 months, I wouldn't have to wait.
Yeah.
You know,
But the other thing is, again, that we have it projected on John. If John will just take the move, then everything falls into place. So in the same way with relationships, maybe what you want to do is take the emphasis off the John and say, that energy that I need for my program, for my life, for my whatever it is, for my job, for my money, that energy, just hold that, so that in actuality you're opening up, because there might be a karmic partner that's sitting out there but can't get there because John is in the way. In the same way that we very well know that if you don't get your father out of the way, you don't get a partner.
Right.
Because he's in the way. If you're divorced and that person's still there, I wish I had and I should have, that person is still there, you're not going to attract a perfect partner. You're just going to attract some variation of the repetition of that relationship. So it might be really good, again, not waiting, is to really focus on what it is you want from John and hold on to that, put that out, and let that point of reference of John fall away. Then
Right.
John can come to you, because one of the things that we know in terms of the direction of energy is if you're going, come on, come on, come on, and he's not coming, he doesn't come because you're pulling.
Right, I mean, I don't pull, for a long time I don't pull, and then finally things reach a point where I'm like, geez, it's been 2 months, and you know, we're all waiting here.
So
You know?
what you want to do is to really hold, here's what we need, and look how this unfolds it. And let anybody that
Right.
can take that
Yeah,
come into that place. Because it might be John,
Right.
but it might not be John.
I have been doing that. I'm just a little bit combination. I have been doing that, and I'm not really, my body doesn't feel worried or scared. I mean, I do feel like things are sort of falling in place, and but it's just sort of, I'm just a little bit tired of, having to be, consciously, doing all that.
So take your mind off that for a while, because as you well know, it's all about critical mass, whether everything is lining up,
Right.
the stars, the people, it all has to align to create that critical mass. So sometimes we set the pulse, okay, this is what needs to happen, and then you go off and go skiing, or you go off and go playing, and just take it out of your mind, and replace your mind and your focus for a minute or two, so that you relax, so that the stretching of, it's time to get this done now, so that kind of stretching can be rebalanced with the fluidity of now. That's what I would recommend.
Well, I did the liver cleanse last night, then I played tennis today, and then I went, after tennis, we went for a drink, which sort of negated some of the liver cleanse. But when I end up doing something like that, like right after the liver cleanse, and it was a fun and right thing to do in many ways, although right after, I just think, all right, well, it's like, obviously, this is what's actually coming out of my body, because I'm tempted to put it back into my body. So I just take note of that, and, depending on the circumstances, sort of try to minimize putting it back into my body.
Well, but let me just use that
Yeah.
as a point of reference for our.
But it did take my mind off of everything
Yeah, yeah.
else.
Well, the taking of the drink is definitely, this isn't necessarily about you, but let me interject this
About
here,
me.
because it is something that occurs to us, and you're right, we do a liver flush and then we go out and have a drink. So the question about that, again, not necessarily about you, is why do we feel that if we're going to go out and have a drink, we can't have a nice little lemon waters after a liver flush instead of the actual alcohol, which is hurting us? If we think we're going to have a drink, just giving yourself an emergency, or taking an emergency and having that instead is a great thing. But the vitamin C, or something that will protect your liver, which has just been stressed by liver flush, is a good way to do it. And so, I really want to applaud, because I'm seeing it actually more and more. People really saying, I don't need to have that drink. I can still go into the bar, I can still be with you, and I can have wine instead of the hard drink, or I can have non-alcoholic beer, or I can have lemon water, and still be very, very happy. Now that shows me the place where we begin to be independent, where we begin to say, I'm not going to do this because otherwise I won't be aligned with you. But that from here, I can be aligned with you, whatever you're doing.